Why can't it always be about me? I'm the star! Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Florida Man Friday here on Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Florida Man Friday here on Brain Blaze. As always, I'm your Simon. I'm here with what am I writing in this case, Kevin? Writes me scripts, never read it before. We're going to talk about Florida Man because that's what we do on Fridays. It's right there in the name. We've talked about a lot of dumb TikTok trends on this channel, but not every trend on the platform is a total miss. That's true. TikTok's got some bangers. I don't have TikTok on my phone because I'm kind of like, are the Chinese spying on me? I don't like it. I don't like it at all. For example, the brief obsession that TikTok had with sea shanties. What the f*** is a sea shanty?
Soon then anxiety comes, buzzing, jittering vibrations.
While fucking weird, it was kind of cool. But there's another trend that's been going around, which is to Google what Florida Man was getting up to on the day you were born. Kevin, please say you've done this for the day I was born. Please say you've done this. I was born on the 15th of May, 1987. Let's see what happens. According to the internet, I was born on the 13th of May. I'm also 6'8" and weigh 50 kilograms. Not sure where the internet gets this information, but it's incorrect. And this leads to people wishing me happy birthday on the 13th of May because they Google it. And then I know they Google it because I'm not born on the 13th of May. And maybe now that I've said this explicitly, it will change. I think my Twitter says what my birthday is. So come on now, internet, get it together. And that is the theme of today's episode. What is the theme, Kevin? I've already forgotten. Oh, birthdays. Today we'll be covering the antics that Florida Man was getting up to on my birthday, December the 16th. What about my birthday, Kevin? Why can't it always be about me? I'm the star, Kevin. Anyway. After that outburst, let's calm down and get back to it. Kevin's birthday's December 16th. Who knows? Maybe this episode will even be airing in December. Not bloody likely, despite being written in July. I'm recording this on the 1st of August, Kevin, so I'll let you know. The wheels at Brain Blaze move quickly. Like wheels. What's wrong with that? This is a bad joke. Today's episode is brought to you by Vessi, longtime sponsor of the show, one of my absolute favorites. Basically, Vessi, if you haven't heard the pitch before, you have. You've definitely heard about Vessi before. They make 100% waterproof shoes. They are not weatherproof. They are not water resistant. They are waterproof thanks to a material called Dynatex. They also have something called Cloud Comfort All Day, which I just found out about because it's written in the bottom of the shoe here. These are the Corkside Classic. These literally arrived about an hour ago. They are so clean that I could lick the bottom of that shoe. They smell fresh straight out of the box. I am going to put these on when I leave the office today. Leave my old pair of Vessis, which I'm not actually wearing right now because I'm not wearing any shoes. I'm going to put these on and I'm excited to wear them. They also look awesome. They've got a vintage look that is perfect for any urban setting, from bustling streets to chic cafes. Plus, like I said, they're fully waterproof. So if you're looking to elevate your urban style with unbeatable comfort, check out Vessi and their Courtside Classic. Your feet will thank you. Head over to vessi.com/blaze to get an automatic 15% off your first purchase at checkout. Don't miss out with Vessi. As I say, fantastic sponsor, one of my favorites. These look awesome. And now back to today's video. Sadly, none of the stories will be from my actual birth year, but there's still some really wild stuff. Anyway, since Florida Man needs no introduction, despite the fact that you got an introduction from me and then Kevin, let's get into it. Florida Man tries to buy McDonald's with weed. Not possible. Not going to happen. People don't accept weed as a form of currency, even in Florida. Yet. That will change. Legalization is the first step, and then it's just going to be currency globally.
Fuck yeah!
We've all been there before. You just took a massive bong rip or smoked a fat blunt, and now all you want to do is eat everything in sight. Wait, for some reason, I don't know why this is what entered my mind, but I had the idea that this guy wanted to buy a McDonald's franchise with weed. Like, he was just going there with like a giant brick of weed that had imported from, I don't know whether they grow weed, and he's like, I will exchange this for one franchise of McDonald's, like some Ozark, which is a show I've just started watching. It's very compelling. Anyway, it's actually about someone ordering a McDonald's meal, which makes a glowed more sense, doesn't it? But what if there's no snack food in your house and you don't want to go through all of the effort of cooking something? Well, I don't know. These days, I'll just get on my phone and order whatever the fuck I want. Like last weekend, I was like, really feel like frozen margaritas. So I went onto an app and I ordered like all the ingredients you need, and 20 minutes later, they're at my house and I'm drinking frozen margaritas. And once again, it's awesome to live in the future. Perhaps you might go on an epic quest to find the nearest White Castle with hilarious results and a cameo from Neil Patrick Harris, or maybe you'll just hop into your car and drive to the local McDonald's. That doesn't seem like a good idea, Kevin. Wait. You shouldn't be driving anywhere if you just had a fat bong rip, because you're intoxicated. You very casually mentioned that as okay. And I know you're American and this is like different in America. We take this shit seriously in Europe. You can't just be like out getting high and driving around. Although I suppose you could, because they breathalyze you and you'll be like, no, I'm not drunk at all. The latter is what Florida man Anthony Gallagher did back in 2018, though once he placed his order, he realized that he didn't have any money. Oh no! Well, they're not going to give you your order then, are they? Because in McDonald's, it works currency first, then you get your food. It's not like you're in a nice restaurant where they bring you the bill afterwards. It'd be cool if they did that, though. To be fair, this is Florida, so there's a lot of different ways that this could have gone. He could have pulled a gun on the cashier or thrown an alligator into the drive-thru window. I believe that's happened. Someone did throw an alligator through a drive-thru window. Was it a YouTuber who did that? And if so, what's wrong with us? But since you've already seen the title of this section, you know that that's not what happened. Anthony was a business-minded individual, so he offered the cashier a trade, a bag of weed in exchange for his McDonald's order. Now, if I were that cashier, and let's say I like to partake in the lettuce of the devil,
all we really need is a little green.
Yo.
I'll be like, yeah, bro, okay, cool. I got like $10 in my pocket. I'll pop that in the till for you. Take the $1 change or whatever. How much is McDonald's in America? I don't know, like what, $7, $8, something like that. And then I'll take the weed and be like, gonna get high after work today. Boom!
Yo.
Lovely job. Depending on how much weed was in the bag and how much food Anthony had ordered, this could have been a f***ing incredible deal for the cashier. Exactly, Kevin. After all, it's not like people are particularly known for making good decisions while they're stoned. If he was being offered like half an ounce for a Happy Meal or something, that's just free money. All you'd have to do is make sure your till is balanced at the end of the night, and there'd be no need for anyone to check the security footage of you purchasing an illicit Schedule 1 drug on par with heroin. Wait. Marijuana is not a Schedule 1 drug, is it, in America? If so, that's insane. In the UK, it's a Class C drug, which is like barely above decriminalized. Like, no one gives a shit if you're smoking weed. Like heroin, cocaine, these are meth. These are your Class A drugs because they actually hurt people. But either the actual deal being offered wasn't so lopsided, or the cashier just didn't want to risk getting fired or arrested. You may be thinking, there's also the chance the cashier didn't smoke weed and didn't know anybody who did. Come on, he works at McDonald's. Of course he smokes weed. But having spent 4 years living in Florida, I can safely say that that is not an option. I don't believe anybody could willingly live in Florida without almost being permanently intoxicated. Kevin, did you just say you spent 4 years living in Florida? Kevin, are you Kevin, you're a Florida man. You are. You might say you're from Massachusetts, but those 4 years, that's like 40 years in non-Florida years. Anyway, the cashier rejected the trade, and Anthony went on his way. The cashier then called the police. What a f***ing little bitch!
I like you.
What the f***? Like a teetotaling tattletale. Oh wait, Anthony was driving while high. Maybe calling the police was a good idea. I'm against this, but I don't know. I don't, don't be a little bitch snitch. Come on. Now, if there's one thing that stoners are notorious for, it's... What were we just talking about? I can't remember, and neither can they. That probably explains why, just a short while later, before the police had even time to leave the McDonald's, Anthony came back through the drive-thru. Technically, it's possible he may have gone home to get his wallet, but I choose to believe that he had forgotten he had already tried this and was about to barter with the cashier again. All of the reporting says it's unclear or unknown which was the case. But since police were there and already had Anthony's description, he never did get that Happy Meal with the Spider-Man toys that they were giving out that December. Instead, he got a free ride back in the back of a police car to the station, where he was charged with marijuana possession and driving under the influence. Yeah, I mean, dude, what? Don't be doing this. Naked Florida man steals truck from dealership. Oh yeah, all of this happened on Kevin's birthday. Florida man's up to dude. Buying a car sucks so much. When I bought my car 11 years ago, I'm surprised I didn't jump over the desk and punch the finance manager in his stupid face. I'm sure many of our viewers can relate to this, though maybe the car buying experience in Europe is so different that Simon has no idea what I'm talking about. I don't know what you're talking about. I have not... whenever I've bought a car, I've always just bought it. And this isn't like just, post-success, Simon. Like, when I didn't have money, I'd always just buy a car that I could afford. I wouldn't go and get a car on a lease. And yeah, that meant I had some pretty cheap cars. But that seems really sensible to me. Or maybe the process never bothered him, since he could happily just shell out the extra money for undercoating. What the fuck is undercoating? What is that? What's going on, Kevin? What is this car buying experience in America? I don't like it already.
Hold on.
But for those of us for whom car shopping is a waking nightmare, why not just cut out the middleman? The cars are just sitting there in the parking lot, so why not just take one? I don't know, Kevin, maybe because that's a f***ing crime called theft. I don't actually know if that was what was going through the head of 40-year-old Florida man Richard Blows. I mean, maybe it was all the cocaine that had blown into his nose. But I'm not convinced anything was going through his head at all. Maybe it was meth. Around 7 a.m., an employee of the Melbourne car dealership saw Richard standing naked inside a painting booth. What the f*** is a painting booth? He then got inside the 2021 Dodge Ram that was inside, backed out of the booth, and drove away. Oh, like for painting cars, of course, because we're talking about cars. I'm imagining some place where artists paint things. Because I guess dealerships just leave the keys in the ignition when cars are unattended overnight. Later examination of security footage showed that Richard had been hanging around the dealership since before 5 a.m. He was walking around the lot in his underwear, and at one point, he sat on the roof of a car for a good 30 minutes. Bro be high, right? Bro be on that meth. It's unclear whether that was before or after he took his underwear off. Richard was seen driving north on the I-95 by a police officer in an unmarked car. According to the officer, Richard was driving erratically and hit the guardrail multiple times. Dude is on an adventure, man. Police were finally able to get him to pull over after he got off the highway in Cocoa, and he was unsurprisingly placed into custody. Again, this may come as a shock to you, but this may come as a shock to absolutely nobody, but the 40-year-old man who stole a truck while naked has actually had previous run-ins with the law. You don't say. In Florida, Kevin? No. Had he been arrested the month before for exposing himself and was currently out on bail. In the 3 years leading up to this, Richard had actually been sent to the county jail a dozen times. Bro's leading that wildlife, man. Like some people. A lot of those charges were related to his frequent and unfortunate habit of removing all of his clothes, though not all of them were. Maybe he's just one of these people who gets drunk and just wants to get naked. So I'm so hot! Let's just get him naked. Following this incident, Richard was charged with multiple burglary counts, grand theft auto, criminal mischief, violating probation, leaving the scene of an accident with property damage, and driving with a suspended license. Yeah, and he deserved all of it. Florida man hits wife with Christmas tree. What? Oh, because it's December. I was like, that's early, but it's not, because I was thinking about my birthday in May, but it's on Kevin's birthday, because I'm not the center of the world. Yet. Having a long and successful marriage takes a lot of communication, patience, and compromise. It could be a lot of hard work, or so I'm told. Personally, I think how difficult a marriage should be has been completely oversold by older generations who got married way too young and weren't allowed to get divorced, forcing them to live with people they hated. They also let us believe that married couples constantly fighting is totally normal, rather than being a sign that maybe those people shouldn't be married to each other. Constant fighting is like, it doesn't feel like it's going to work out, does it? Come on now. That's not to say that there won't be disagreements, but I'd like to think that couples could talk them out like reasonable adults instead of having constant screaming matches with one another. I don't think I've ever had a, shouting match with... We've had disagreements over all sorts of stupid shit. But, I don't think we've ever shouted at each other. I really don't. But when it comes to people who should probably never be married to anyone, there is no better example than 52-year-old Florida man Richard Atchison. I am also now just realizing that this is the second story in a row about an insane middle-aged man named Richard, so maybe I'm just going to call this guy Dick, because he is certainly a dick as well. To start, Dick looks a lot like Charles Manson did after decades of being locked away in prison. So not brilliant, and maybe little swastika on his forehead. But worse, like Dick, also looks like elderly Charles Manson on a particular... Dick looks like elderly Charles Manson on a particularly bad day. On the dating question, he and his wife got into a heated argument because she'd done something unspeakably horrible. She asked him to help her make dinner. Pfft. What the fuck, man? Does she not know her place as a woman?
Just like a...
No.
This unconscionable act already caused quite a bit of arguing, but his wife decided to escalate things even further. In an act so malicious it defies reason, she accidentally dropped a spoon into a sink full of water. The spoon caused a splash, resulting in Dick getting very slightly wet. It was all more abuse than he could stand, so he packed up his belongings, went to his car, and drove away. After spending some time drinking, Dick came to a realization. He hadn't done anything wrong, so she should be the one to leave the house instead of him. Dick drove back to their apartment, presumably while well above the legal limit, and demanded that his wife leave instead of him. She attempted to do so, but Dick blocked the door and pushed her back with both hands. After she stumbled back a few steps, he picked up the Christmas tree and threw it at her. Dick continued to demand that his wife leave their apartment while simultaneously blocking the exit and refusing to let her do so. Yes, he sounds sober, doesn't he? A level of drunken belligerence that would almost be impressive if he wasn't being such a massive piece of shit. Fortunately, all of this arguing got the neighbors' attention and the police arrived shortly after, as things had started to get physical. Dick explained the details I described, writing it off as having simply lost his temper. Bro, if you're losing your temper like that, you need to get some therapy, because that's not losing your temper, that's being a psycho, dude. He was charged with felony counts of false imprisonment and domestic battery. Excellent. There was also a misdemeanor count of violation of an injunction, which suggests that this wasn't Dick's first domestic battery charge, though I wasn't able to find the records of previous convictions. Florida man arrested after shooting himself. Let's move on to something much lighter. Didn't you just say the title was Florida man shoots himself? Unless he's shooting himself in the cock, which is only like... that's funny. That's funny. Like, a dude shooting himself in the cock is funny. Like, as horrible as it is, it's also funny. The case of 36-year-old Florida man Matthew Knopfsinger. Police came to pay Matthew a little visit in the hospital on the morning of the 16th, which is standard practice whenever someone is admitted to hospital with a gunshot wound. Matthew told the police that he had been out in the woods that morning where he was shot by someone. Presumably, the story was that he'd accidentally been shot by a hunter from a distance, but this story didn't make a lot of sense given his injuries. Yeah, didn't we just say that he shot himself? Matthew's leg had both an entrance and an exit wound, showing that the bullet was fired almost perpendicular to the ground. Bro's embarrassed he shot himself. This didn't fit with his story at all, so police pressed for answers. Eventually, Matthew admitted that he accidentally shot himself while playing cowboy with a revolver. What? You know the thing you do where you put your finger inside the trigger guard and spin the gun in a circle like you're Clint Eastwood? What the fuck? Or Roy Rogers. What are you doing? You're an insane person. This is beyond words stupid. Matthew said that the revolver accidentally discharged, which is how he shot himself. So why lie? Is it because he was embarrassed about what a f***ing colossal moron he'd been for treating a loaded gun like a toy? No, he probably thought it looked really cool while he was doing that. It was because he was a convicted felon who wasn't supposed to have access to guns. Police did a background check and confirmed that Matthew was a felon. Then they took a little peek inside his wallet just for fun. Inside they found 4 credit cards and an ID, none of which belonged to him. Uh-oh. He was charged with possession of a firearm and possession of personal information of 4 people, but I bet he looked really cool spinning those guns. Florida men steal hundreds of gallons of oil. It was August the 23rd, 1998, and Season 10, Episode 1 of The Simpsons, titled Lard of the Dance. Sorry. It aired for the first time. Okay. In the episode, Homer learns that you can make money by selling grease, but the grease from his kitchen wasn't nearly enough to make any meaningful money. Refusing to give up, he and Bart broke into the school to steal groundskeeper Willie's retirement grease.
Lunch, Lady Doris. Have you got any grease?
Yes, we do.
With hilarious results.
Then grease me up, woman!
Also, Lisa Kudrow was there. Okay. When I first saw that Simpsons episode, it seemed like such a ridiculous premise to me. The idea that Homer could back his car up to a building, drag a hose inside, and pump all of the grease into his vehicle seemed like such an absurd idea. What I was unaware of at this time is that used cooking oil really does have value, as it has uses ranging from soap to animal feed to diesel fuel. Yeah, they make it into biodiesel, don't they? And to Florida man Roy Lin, Yun Chi Chen, and Zheng Yu Lu, this wasn't a silly episode of a cartoon. This was their blueprint to success and financial independence. On December the 16th of last year, a corporate security guard for Darpro Solutions, a company that specializes in grease management for restaurants, sounds like a fun business to be in, noticed two suspicious vehicles driving away from a location serviced by Darpro. This location had been hit the previous year, so the security guard followed the cars to the next stop, a Chinese buffet. The driver of a black Acura parked and acted as a lookout, though apparently not a very good one, while the white box truck backed up to the restaurant. The security guard watched as they dragged a hose from the truck and used it to pump about 150 gallons of grease from a Darpro tank into their truck. The men... What? If you're gonna steal something, why steal this? Look, I know it's got value, but it can't be that valuable. The men then drove to two more restaurants, repeating this process, while the security guard called the police. Police pulled over the two vehicles under the guise of routine traffic stop, at which point all three men were arrested. Though one refused to answer questions, the other two claimed to be retrieving the grease on orders of their employer, Green Power, though they had no documentation to back up any of their claims. After measuring the grease levels in the tanks that were hit, it was determined that they'd stolen about 330 gallons of grease with a market value of over $1,000. 330 gallons. That's a litre. That's a ton. That's more than a ton. That's like 1.3 tons of grease. It gets you $1,000. Is this really what you want to be stealing? Why not steal something good? That's not bad for a couple of hours' work, even if it did have to be split three ways. Since this happened so recently, there haven't been any convictions yet, but there are certainly theories. The main theory comes from the police, who believe these men to be part of a large criminal conspiracy who are responsible for a large number of grease heists at Central Florida restaurants that have been taking place for years. But really, what is more likely? Are we to believe that there's some organized criminal syndicate trafficking grease, or that these men were just a few Homer Simpsons who had a crazy get-rich-quick scheme?
Even grease pundits, I'll kill ya!
Well, as it turns out, organized crime is actually much more likely when it comes to something like this. In 2019, the Department of Organized Crime for stealing grease, Florida. What's happening? The Department of Homeland Security investigated a case out of North Carolina in which 21 individuals were indicted for stealing $3.9 million worth of used cooking oil. Bro, if it's $1,000 for 1.3 tons, how much oil do you have to steal? It's a lot. And it's estimated that $45 to $75 million of grease is stolen each year. Maybe the Simpsons can really predict the future. I mean, holy shit, what the fuck, Florida? And just in general, whoever's doing this, America, what the fuck? Kevin, are you Kevin, you're a Florida man.